Welcome to Take It from the Iron Woman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Iron Woman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Iron Woman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Take it from the Iron Woman, meet Vanessa. From the biography we can read, she lives and works her truth every day, both in her life and with each and every client. Some days she would still rather be the unmotivated, overweight 10-year-old sitting on the couch eating candy, but she can't be. I'm wondering what that is. Let's talk a little bit about the fitness. What is your favorite sport?
Okay. So now I'm running a lot and I'm kind of switched from the marathon world. I'm actually going on the track, which is so much fun. I did the California State Games and won the 5K on the track. I just won my age division in a 10K on a road race. I think running has always been my thing, but let me back up because I want to talk about me as a child, which is such a huge portion of my story. Because I do talk about the 10-year-old, and the 10-year-old was close to 200 pounds. I was I am the most unathletic person you've ever met. I came from a very poor family. My father couldn't keep a job. And there's something about being a kid that you don't really know what's happening in the world. And at 10 years old, I just thought I was big boned, that nobody liked me, whatever that stuff we think of as a child. And then sitting down for lunch with these girls who were the popular girls, this one girl turned to me and said, "You can eat your lunch with us, but you can't play with us." I was very perplexed and didn't know what to do, as a child is not. And she says to me, as I unwrapped the aluminum foil off the Coke that my mother had froze and put in my lunch every day, "That's why you're fat. You drink a Coke every day." Now I'm 10 years old and I don't understand anything, but I got up and threw my lunch away and went and sat off by myself. And I went to a small Catholic school. And I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't know I was fat. Nobody had ever told me I was fat. My whole family was fat. Nobody exercised. How would I know? I was always last to be picked for any softball game or any whatever game on the playground. Nobody wanted to play with me. But I didn't know it was because I was fat. When I was 13, I grew up in a small town. It was a basketball town. Everybody played basketball. I went to this little basketball camp before high school. And the coach, who was fantastically nice, didn't say that I was fat or anything. He said, "Vanessa, you probably want to get fit before high school starts." I went, okay. Now I was already working full time as a 13-year-old. I was very ambitious to make money. And my hero was Frank Shorter. I literally go to the library and I pick up every book I can on running. I'd seen him, win the gold medal in 72 and in 76 get cheated by the German that everyone knew was drugging. Like, this guy was my hero. Mm-hmm. And this is 1980 and we're not able to go to the Olympics. But I wanted the character of Frank more than anything. I thought, I'm going to go run. Watch me, right? I'm fat. I'm going to go run. I get ready in the morning to go run and get out in the morning at 5:00 in the morning. And I ran 23 steps and sat down. And I couldn't breathe. The asthmatic, my father smoked in my house. I really had allergies and I was super fat. And I sat in the corner and cried. And I'm 13 years old and I realize I am the fat loser that everyone has said I was for years. And I give up. I just said, I'm done. This is 13 years old. I'm done. It's over.
That's a hard time, right?
It's very hard. As I walk back to my house.
Self-confidence and everything. Yeah.
I walk back to my house and I've just bought my house. I've just bought my a real home for my parents. It's like a month and a half before my 14th birthday, moved out of a mobile home into this house. And I said, wow, if you can work so hard to buy a house for your parents at this age, maybe you can run 24 steps, not just 23. So I turn around and I don't run 24 steps. I run 26 before I have to stop. It was amazing to me. I accomplished more physically than I ever dreamed of. I kind of jog back to the house and my mom's leaving for work and she's like, "What are you doing outside at 6 a.m.? That less than 100 total steps took me an hour. And it started off a journey for me. Yeah. I literally ran my first 10-mile race within 6 weeks. I was running 11 miles a day. Before high school started, I was down 60 pounds and had grown 4 inches.
What I think I want to compliment on is, yes, you had a role model, but you did all by yourself. I mean, that's amazing.
We didn't have anything back then. You have to understand, we have nothing back then, right? Yeah. There's no communication. There's no running clubs. Women on the road were ridiculous. People still thought our uteruses would fall. We didn't even have the marathon in the Olympics till 1984. At the end of summer, I ran my first 10-mile race. And back then, it was probably one woman for every 40, 50 guys. And the men were so encouraging. When I got tired at mile 8, fantastic. Mm-hmm. I made a vow at the end of that race. I'm running a marathon in a year. I'm running a marathon because for me, the marathon was it.
Yeah.
I am 14 years old. This was ridiculous, right? But everyone in town knew me as the runner. I was the girl who ran around this entire 11-mile loop around the city all the time. And then I ran my first marathon at the age of 15 and won my first marathon at the age of 16 and actually still have the t-shirt from that marathon, and it hangs in the bathroom of my fitness studio in San Jose.
Well, that's a special t-shirt. I would not give that away. I'm amazed that they let you run a marathon at the age of 14 or 15. I thought it was only 18, or these were the days when nobody checked your age, probably.
These were the days. Nobody checked because there wasn't any girls running anyway, which is so funny when you think about this. There was no women out there doing that. There wasn't I didn't look around and go, oh yeah, look at all these women. We saw the ones on TV getting ready for the 84 Olympics, but they were I don't know, some other world of, people. Athletes were so different. Yeah. And also back then when we ran races, people weren't slow. You didn't have walkers. You didn't have 13-minute milers. Everybody was overly fit and athletic. It was very, very different.
I want to add, in those days, when I started to run, we had t-shirts. They were black, white, gray, red, maybe blue. And now what do we have? All the colors of the rainbow. And also the shoes, right? All the color of the rainbow, which is nice. I think it's motivational. We need that. But back in the days, so thank you so much for being the trailblazer and the person who broke the barriers.
And you have to remember, back then, when we ran, our feet were an absolute mess. We had blood blisters all the time. Our feet were disasters. We didn't have compression socks. As you can see, we have over 150 pairs of running shoes. I mean, I am a running shoe freak. I can answer you any questions about running shoes. I refuse to be in pain. I love shoes. But back then, we had $20 Nikes that were considered the it, or a Saucony back then, or maybe may have been $35. And you were like, oh, that's too much padding. It doesn't fit my foot. It's weird anyway because it was the new hot shoe. Mm-hmm. But there was 6 pairs of running shoes in 1980 we had to choose from? There wasn't hundreds, right? It was very, very different.
I'm so glad you're writing this book and motivating others because I think I'm a running coach too. I remember there was one person and he says, I can run 4 miles. I cannot run 5 miles. So, and he was a very intelligent man, lovely man. I said to him, why don't you run in New York City to the next lamppost? Mm-hmm. One more lamppost and one more. It's like you running 23 or 26 steps. And maybe a month or 2 later, I forgot about that story. He came back and he says, Coach, I'm running 5 miles now. Isn't that lovely? When you listen to other podcasts of my friends, Rachel, Renee, Caroline, Andrea, we've been running coaches for 10, 15 years and we have inspired so many people. I can only imagine how many lives you are touching with your book, with your mentality, with being a role model. That's what we need in the world.
I think so too. And I think we have so much negativity. It's so remarkable. We just had a local 10K race in town. I, of course, have a run club. It's free on Strava. People buy a shirt. I have some clients that run, but people are in the run club that have no affiliation except to be on Strava. But seeing somebody at a race who sees my shirt and knows me and goes, hey, Vanessa, oh my God, I'm in your run club. This is exciting. It's that camaraderie we feel whether you're at the front of the pack or the back of the pack at a race. It doesn't matter. The joy of people finishing something they never thought they could accomplish. And I always tell people, just go and sit at the end of a race. Don't watch the winners. The winners are fantastic. And those of us trying to get our age group awards, yeah, whatever. I mean, Who cares? Honestly, the other day, Sunday, someone said, oh, you must be so excited to have a great time. I'm like, I don't really care. I got to see Joe. Joe just did his first race, right? That's the exciting part. And you watch these people finish toward the back of the pack and they smile because they did something they thought was impossible. Yeah. That is the joy of running.
And we always say everybody starts at the same start line. Everybody finishes at the same finish line, just not in the same time. I also think that the people in the back of the pack, they have more fun. They are dedicated. It's the first time. And the first time, I remember my first race ever. This is the first race. This is the first race. And the first marathon, you always keep in your heart. And it's very special. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Love to hear your story as the 10-year-old, 14-year-old running a marathon, the inspiration and the determination without a lot of help. Thank you so much for sharing. What a cool story. If you do 23 steps, 24 steps, 26 steps, add a few steps every day, one step more, and you can run a marathon. Thank you, Vanessa. This was really cool. Learning from you, learning from your story. We all need role models. Take it from the Iron Woman. We have episodes every Monday, every Wednesday. Don't miss out. There's something for everybody. And actually, Take It from the Iron Woman started out as a book, Global Business Coaching with Sports Parallels. Learn from me how I became an Iron Woman. It takes a lot. Training, determination, energy, but then the nutrition. Read the book, download the book. Thank you so much for your support.